Have you been ruminating over your relational trauma for far too long? Has this constant cycle of stress and anxiety led to binge eating and binge watching series on Netflix in the guise of self-comfort, only leaving you to feel tired and fatigued when you wake up the next day? Are you always thinking about your relational trauma to the point where you can't even focus on anything outside of what's going on with the narcissistic abusive relationship that you're in? Well, if you've answered yes to any of these questions, you are no different than our founder, Jason.
About 7 or 8 years ago, I was super sick. I was overweight and out of shape and on about 10 prescriptions.
You see, Jason had dealt with many health issues over the years. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, high anxiety, and unfortunately, an abusive narcissistic relationship.
And I got sick and tired of being sick and tired and relying on all these prescriptions that just made me feel worse.
You see, Jason didn't realize the connection between poor nutrition, poor mental health, and having exacerbated symptoms of relational trauma and exacerbated symptoms of anxiety and stress.
In the past few years, I have had some setbacks. I got a divorce. I had a girlfriend die in a tragic accident. And shortly thereafter, I found myself in a narcissistic abuse relationship. It was a relationship that seemed to start out perfectly like a dream, soulmate, and then turned into a 1.5 years worth of devaluation and physical, financial, emotional, and psychological abuse.
You see, Jason didn't realize that there was a connection between high stress and blood sugar imbalances, which led to chronic inflammation. And when you have chronic inflammation in the body, it causes virtually every single degenerative disease state in the body.
Because sugar causes inflammation, and inflammation causes most illnesses. So I threw away my prescriptions and started taking supplements to help me with blood sugar and got my body in shape.
So welcome to Promethean Wellness. My name is Naveen Khan. I am the Chief Scientific Officer and Head Product Formulator here at Promethean Wellness. And I'm here today to talk to you about the exact same routine that got Jason to lose over 20 pounds, get off all of his medications, and finally let go, heal, and thrive in his new journey away from his narcissistic abusive relationship. Like we talked about earlier, Jason had turned to nutritional products that were backed by science. You see, there are certain products that have clinical research that shows that those that are suffering from PTSD are deficient in and need more of than even regular people. So the first product that I want to talk about is our ashwagandha. You see, one of the biggest culprits when it comes to stress eating, binge eating, lack of sleep, and high blood sugar is high levels of your stress hormone called cortisol. And we're talking chronically elevated levels of your stress hormone. You see, when this hormone is elevated for far too long, it increases blood sugar, which then tells your body to store all the food you're eating as fat, and it actually blocks fat burning. Because when you have high blood sugar, it increases a hormone called insulin. And insulin tells your body to store all the food that you're eating as fat. So you see, ashwagandha was one of the products that Jason used to lower his blood sugar, to lose over 20 pounds, but also to boost his libido and positive mood. Another product that I want to talk about that is directly correlated to those that have PTSD and relational trauma are omega-3 fish oil. You see, when you're deficient in omega-3 fatty acids, it will actually slow down the rate and growth at which your brain and nerve cells can grow by up to 30%. And research has shown that those that are suffering from relational trauma are not only deficient in omega-3 fatty acids, but when you would give those that have relational trauma and PTSD 2 grams of fish oil supplementation per day, it actually reduced depressive symptoms by 35% and suicidal ideation by over 40%. Let that sink in for a second. That is peer-reviewed clinical research. Now, I want to talk about some other health issues and nutrient deficiencies associated with relational trauma, chronic stress, and inflammation. And hence the word inflammation is our anti-inflammatory pro. You see, when those that have relational trauma and PTSD are constantly stressed out, it increases the blood sugar like we talked about, but that increases chronic inflammation in the body. And when you have chronic inflammation in the body, it increases inflammation in the brain and inhibits the rate at which your brain and nerve cells can communicate to each other. We call this neuronal transduction. So basically, when inflammation is up in the brain, it tells your nerve cells to not be able to communicate as effectively. Think of your brain cells as a telephone wire. Well, think about when you have chronic inflammation, that's as if a storm caused a tree to fall on those telephone wires, right? Well, they don't work anymore. No different than inflammation in your brain, and then the nerve cells cannot communicate effectively and optimally. Now, the next product that I want to talk about is one of the most common mineral deficiencies in the United States, but particularly prevalent among those that are suffering from relational trauma, and that's our magnesium. You see, magnesium is essential for promoting what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. When you're constantly dealing with stress and anxiety and always thinking about your abusive narcissistic partner, your body is in constant fight or flight mode. We call that the sympathetic nervous system. So think of the parasympathetic nervous system as the opposite of the sympathetic nervous system. So in order to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system, you need magnesium. And in fact, magnesium is often the root cause of why most people can't go to sleep. You see, here at Promethean Wellness, we don't just overdose you on melatonin to address the root cause of why you can't go to sleep. And what's the root cause of why you can't go to sleep? Magnesium deficiency, preventing you from getting into that relaxative state of mind, the parasympathetic nervous system, high blood sugar, high cortisol, and when cortisol is elevated, it prevents melatonin production. Now, I want to finish off with our final product, and one that Jason and others have had tremendous success on, and that's our Anti-Anxiety Pro. Anti-Anxiety Pro is formulated with over 22 evidence-based ingredients to help you to reduce cortisol, but allow your brain to relax. And two ingredients I want to touch upon is GABA. You see, GABA, think of that as the brakes for your brain. The reason why I'm taking that deep breath is that GABA allows you to relax. GABA stops overthinking in the frontal lobe of your brain. The next ingredient in this anxiety formula is L-theanine. L-theanine comes from green tea, and L-theanine allows you to relax, but also allows you to tap into that parasympathetic nervous system. So all these products that I've talked about are the exact same products and routine that Jason and many others have utilized to not only to let go of narcissistic abusive relationship, but are thriving. No longer is Jason dealing with brain fog, anxiety, lack of focus. No longer is Jason dealing with sugar cravings at night that lead to binge eating and overeating.
But I escaped and I started therapy. And I once again started doing nutritional research to help with the symptoms of trauma recovery. Symptoms such as stress and anxiety, brain fog, neuroinflammation, gut health issues, sleeplessness, and various mental health issues.
Dealing with relational trauma, oftentimes you will overeat as comfort. We are here to stop that psychological lie that your brain and the anxiety and the stress from your relational trauma is telling you. So it's time for you. Take that journey with us. Embark on the supplements. Embark in the free lifestyle guide we have. It's your time.
I discovered a high quality manufacturer with a catalog of products to help with these issues. I personally tested them and used them myself, and after about 6 months, felt amazing. So I redesigned my entire catalog of products to start offering them to my customers. And now you can try them too at PrometheanWellness.com.
It's finally time you did this for you. So hurry up, click below. It's time for you to let go, heal, and find your happiness.